This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The entirety of Stranger Things Season 4 is finally here. It's been 3 years. 3 very long years. This season is the biggest thing Netflix has ever done, crashing its website with the release. With each episode costing over $30 million each and being the most beloved series of the decade, it was sure to break all their records. And it did, and their streaming service. Not only was it the most expensive, but it was also the biggest and the longest, coming in at 9 episodes and 13 hours long, tying together 4 different storylines and more characters than ever. I loved so many things about this season, but there were also a few things that I think they could have done a little better, or differently I think. I also have some very big burning questions at the end of the video that I want to hear your opinion on, so make sure you watch until the end, which, by the way, did you know that only like 12% of you guys that watch the videos are actually subscribed? If you love Stranger Things, go down right now and punch that subscribe button. I've got a whole lot of Stranger Things videos coming out each week that you're not going to want to miss. It doesn't cost anything, it's totally free, and it really helps me out. We're trying to hit 500k subs soon before the end of the year, so subscribe now if you want to join before we hit the big 500. Also, I made some Stranger Things Season 4 finale screensavers to hold us over until Season 5 because that's just going to be too hard. I put them on my Twitter at @It'sMichaelJ. You should go check them out and let me know which one you like best and I'll make some more. I'm going to leave a plate of cookies down in the comments for everyone who subscribes, so go get them while they're hot. But I'm just gonna jump right into the video because we have so much to talk about. Now, I think the biggest question of the finale, for me at least, besides how are they going to kill off Vecna and who is going to die doing it, was how on earth are they going to tie all 4 of these physically distant storylines together? I loved that everyone was trying to make their way back to Hawkins in their own way. I loved Elle and the Byers meet up in the desert. That was one of the best ties together, honestly. Having them race up as Elle's using her powers in public for the first time, fighting against snipers in a helicopter, was just mental. By the way, the helicopter takedown was so awesome. So worth it. I loved it. The Russia storyline was still pretty separated, and I really wish we saw Yuri and Dmitri come back to the States. I wanted that closure. After the Byers and Elle met up, it was cool that they chilled at the pizza shop before dumping Elle in the freezer. I didn't get that was how they were going to piggyback for the finale. I felt like the rest of them were a little on the useless side while Eleven did all the fighting though. Everyone in the storylines were fighting for their lives and then it would cut back to the pizza shop and they're all standing around a pizza table with their hands on Eleven. It was nice to see them reunited, but the physical distance still proved to be an issue with all the storylines. I think Elle did the best job of tying back into the fight at Hawkins because she literally just mind traveled. Everyone else, unfortunately, was limited by the transportation issue. Oh, also, Will's painting was amazing. Perfect reveal. So happy I waited for it, and that's what it was. I want it on a t-shirt immediately. I was also really impressed with the little differences to Vecna's look. I don't know if you noticed, but I think the slimmer Vecna looked really nice, and getting rid of the Grinch belly was a good call. The big twist of Vecna being behind everything since Season 1 is really crazy. I can't wait to talk about this more, but I might need to rewatch the show just so I can look at it from a different perspective now. I can't believe that Eleven has healing powers now and that they just breezed over it like that. I wouldn't have been mad if the finale was an extra hour longer just so they had more time for all the little bits they rushed past. Like, for real, we never got to see any of the characters except Dustin react to Eddie's death. There's no way they didn't film those scenes. They just needed more time and unfortunately they cut those because it wasn't important. I'm telling you, they did Eddie dirty. But one of my favorite little moments is when they had to go out in public and Eddie needs a mask or something to hide him, and then when he comes out, he was wearing Max's Mike Myers mask that she scared the boys with trick-or-treating in Season 2. That was such a little wholesome moment that I didn't know I needed them to put in. Great job, guys. I was a little surprised that there was no mention of Chernobyl. Not that they ever teased it, it's just the show takes place the same month and year that it happened, and they were in Russia, and there was a huge public fallout in Hawkins. I mean, I was just surprised that they didn't try to blame Elle and Vecna's fight on it or something. By far, the strongest part of this season was Max's storyline. Sadie Sink did an incredible job throughout the entire season, and I was just really impressed that along with the show, the actors matured a lot in their acting sense. Sadie and Caleb gave some of the best performances in the finale that we've seen in the entire show. They really did a great job, especially in Dear Billy, such an emotional episode. The finale itself was so crazy. When I saw that first bone break, I got the biggest hole in my chest. Just an awful feeling. I couldn't believe that they were actually doing it. I mean, Eddie I expected because, you know, fan favorite, Alexi, Bob, Billy, and we just called that Max was the main character they would kill off, but I didn't want us to be right. I just wasn't ready. Seeing her broken lifeless body again in Lucas's arms was tough. I really hope that she's okay. I mean, they're not just going to keep her around for no reason. They have to bring her back in some way or for something. Eleven going into Max's mind at the hospital was really interesting to see. Nothing was in there. No Max to be seen anywhere. I mean, yeah, she's in a coma, but what if it's something more? She's still got to be attached to Vecna in some way. She has to be. She was the fourth kill that allowed him to open the tears in Hawkins, but she's also the only one that he's killed that's still technically survived. Max has been to the farthest place in Vecna, the darkest you can go. She figured out his weakness the first time, maybe she'll do it again. I feel like if she's linked with Vecna or has a connection in any way, she's going to be super important in fighting him in season 5. Kind of like Will with the Mind Flare in season 2. I really hope that if they do something like this with Max, they're not going to overshadow Will and his neck tingle. That seems to be the only thing he's really got going for him right now, besides having some similarities to young Henry with the drawing the spiders and the Mind Flare and still being linked. What worries me about Max is when she came back to Lucas, she couldn't see or feel anything. She could recover maybe, but she might be blind in season 5. She could get powers from the link. Anything is possible. With this last season, nobody is safe. Everybody is a target, and I'm kind of scared for it. I think I'm going to call it now. I think my top picks for them killing off main characters next season, that is, if they don't say screw it and kill everyone off, because it's the last season, they could, are these. First is Steve. I'm sorry, but it's been a meme for too long. I wouldn't be surprised if they finally pull the trigger and kill off the babysitter. I mean, by season 5, the kids will be full-blown adults, and I'm sure they're going to be joking about it still, but he could very well die the babysitter, still sacrificing his life for those kids he took under his wing since high school. Plus, they just sprinkled on so much more emotion to his character in the finale with his dream of having 6 little nugget Harringtons with Nancy and having a family someday. If they keep doing this emotional stuff like that with him next season, he's almost for sure going to get killed off. Next, of course, is Elle. Poor girl has gone through so much, it would almost be poetic for the show to end in the Upside Down finally being defeated and closed for good by 11 sacrificing herself to end it. I mean, she's the reason that it exists. She will be the reason it dies. Plus, I think it would be the most emotional death to end the show off with. All of the people in the show have taken 11 under their wing. She had nobody, and they all loved her as their own and accepted her and protected her. If she died sacrificing herself so that all the people that loved her could live, I would be sobbing instantly. And I think just the same, Mike could very well easily die sacrificing himself to save Elle, or Vecna could get a hold of him in hopes of getting to Elle and kill him off to her Elle since she is the main character. I don't want any of these people to die, I just feel like they have a good chance at dying. I mean, I called it right for season 4. I mean, fingers crossed, we'll see how much the Duffer Brothers like us when season 5 comes out. I have a few more people that I think they might kill off, but I'll save that for a full video. I think these are my top picks though. Place your bets in the comments now. We also have a sponsor for today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of classes covering everything you could ever possibly want to learn. If you want to explore your creativity or learn some new skills, or even invest in yourself with some personal growth, Skillshare is the place to do it. There's so many things that I want to be able to do that I just don't know how to do yet. I can go on Skillshare and search for classes on how to cook better, or how to take care of my plants, or even how to start a YouTube channel. It's a world of knowledge at your fingertips, and with just a little curiosity and a hint of creativity, you can learn to do anything you put your mind to. I finally finished the last course I was watching on character illustration, and I loved it. Definitely recommend watching this one, but now that I've completed that course, I wanted to find something that really dove into drawing faces, since that's the current thing I'm trying to conquer. And I'm finally sitting down and I'm going through Louise Stiegel's course, Portrait Drawing for Beginners, and I love it. She's an art teacher from Sweden, and this might be my favorite course yet. She's super personable and starts by explaining everything from the basics at ground level and makes it really easy to follow along. Skillshare is the perfect place to learn to do that new thing that you've been wanting to do. If you're ready to try out Skillshare today, go down and click the link in my description, and the first 1,000 people will get a full entire month free of Skillshare to take all the classes your heart desires. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and thank you so much to you guys for checking out Skillshare. Now, back to the video. And I don't know if you watched my trailer breakdown videos, but watching the finale, I was genuinely surprised with how much I called. And I don't know if it's just me, I think it's a problem on their end with showing too much in the trailers. I think I might make another video on it just because it's such a big issue. It's become normalized to give away the premise, entire plot, and conclusion in trailers nowadays, and Stranger Things is the one thing I don't want to be affected by this. It was so much that I literally called what people were saying in some scenes. Who was dying? dying and how they died, locations, battles, the plot, everything. If you want, you can go watch the Volume 2 trailer breakdowns and you'll realize how much they gave us. They shouldn't give us so much that we can just piece together the entire finale like that. And I get that at this point, it's kind of my job to watch the trailers and figure out what's going to happen, and personally I love doing it, but I don't actually want to know what's going to happen, but it makes me not want to watch the trailers. I think Avatar 2 is a more recent one that has done a great job at showing a lot but not revealing a lot of plot, and I would love to see this happen for season 5, because as much as I love breaking down the trailers, which I really do, I don't actually want to know what's going to happen. I want to still be in the dark. And honestly, releasing in 2 parts was the smartest thing they've done in a while. They needed more time for special effects in the finale, and they took it, and I'm so happy that they did. It gave us a full month to talk about Volume 1 and come together and theorize about Volume 2 as a community. Honestly, it was really nice. I hope they learn from this overwhelming success and drop the outdated binge release model for season 5. I'm telling you, it's the final season. Make it count. Personally, I would love to see them do a weekly release schedule for like 10 episodes. I would love that. And this is more of a cherry on the cake long shot than anything, but if they premiered each episode in theaters along with a marathon for the finale / end of the show, I think that would be so cool. Stranger Things is built on heart and emotional moments, and it would be so cool to live that out in the theaters with all the other fans. Being able to experience Stranger Things for the first time alongside everyone else who loves it would make it so much more emotional. And releasing on a weekly schedule would give us so much more time to talk about it and everything that's happening and give the show so much more hype. That's something we don't normally get to do with this show, and it's one of the best parts of watching a show is talking about it with your friends. And I know people would be dying having to wait a whole week for these crazy cliffhangers they do, but overall I think it would be a better experience. And while I do think it would add a lot of value to the show and most of the viewers, with it being the final and 5th season, it's not likely that they would change it up now. I mean, they did take a step in the right direction with season 4, so we'll see, but they are talking about spin-off shows after season 5, but let's go out with a bang. I would love to see them change it up, but I guess only time will tell. Now, honestly, just like with Volume 1, with the good came some bad. I want to talk about some of the more underwhelming bits of the finale, starting with probably the most important, the emotional moments. I want to start by saying Max's death and that struggle was really done well. Like I said, I had a pit in my stomach when the crap hit the fan, and when Dustin told Eddie's uncle that he died, they did really well with that too. Tears both times. I think Gaten nailed that scene, and it was the first one to easily bring tears out of my eyes. I think it was a mixture of Dustin and how wholesome of a kid he is, having his hero die in his arms trying to save him, mixed with the news of Eddie's death being told to the only person in the entire town that didn't hate him. From the very beginning, he stood by his side and believed in him, that he was innocent, and he stood his ground against the entire town saying that he was doing these killings. And for Dustin to have to tell him that his nephew died a hero protecting the town that hated him, it just really hit me hard. How ironic. I was kind of wondering how his uncle interpreted it when Dustin told him that Eddie died fighting, because to his knowledge there was just an earthquake, there's nothing to fight. He doesn't know about Vecna or the battle underneath Hawkins, you know? But maybe he just took it as fighting to save his friends during the earthquake. But yeah, those were really done well. I wish they spent more time on and dramatized a few of the other more important moments though. Eddie's death, first off, it was so sad to see him go, but it was almost worse because it felt like he didn't need to go. When Dustin got to him, besides the wound on his neck, he looked about the same as Steve did when the 3 demo bats attacked him the first time. It didn't seem like he was hit with any big fatal blows. We just see him withstanding the swarm around him and then 2 biting at his sides, but that's survivable. And after that, the only thing we saw was Dustin's perspective of the bats swarming him in the distance. It almost seemed like they were going to expect us to assume he died. But then he was alive when Dustin got to him. They could have done a little better milking his death and making it a little more warranted, I guess. And I only say that because we've seen what they can do. Remember Billy? The bad guy turned good at the last second, literally stepping in the way of the meat puppet killing 11. He took some really big hits in slow motion and we knew it was over for him, but also, we knew that he saved 11. With Eddie, it seemed like he could have made it, and he indirectly saved them by distracting the bats more and buying them more time, but if he had jumped in the way of something about to kill Dustin, I would have been bawling my eyes out, and it would have felt more like a hero's death. Another one was the Hop and Elle reunion. They should have built that up way more. I also wanted to see when Hop learns they sent Elle to jail, and then to Nevada and Brenner got her and was testing on her. Again, they had so much time, but just not enough to follow up on everything, you know? With 4 storylines, everyone was out of the loop on something. Same with Joyce seeing Will. I feel like she would have been more chaotic and Joyce about it, you know? But she seemed pretty normal for the most part. Maybe she was just jet lagged. The real question is if she brought him a birthday present back from Russia, since everyone forgot his birthday this season, including the Duffer Brothers. I can't believe that happened. I don't think they should retcon it though. It kind of plays into the forgotten third wheel storyline. I also wanted to revisit the things I was looking forward to most in the finale and see how they paid off. Personally, I really wanted more of Hawkins' massacre during Vecna's dialogue and with Nancy trapped and all, but I figured they were just going to breeze over it, and sure enough, they did. Sad. And I did want more of Vecna's dialogue too. He made a big point to tell them that the reason he did and is doing all of this is because he wants to make a difference and change the world. And I wanted to know what his plans or reasoning were, and nothing. I also wanted him to go over how he got his first powers. Why is he the only kid in the world to have powers? But nothing. Also, he made a big point to justify that he killed his family in the first place because they were bad people, and that they had done bad things and they weren't who they pretended to be, and that's why he killed them. But nothing. We learned in Volume 1 that his dad accidentally called in an airstrike on a civilian's house and some of his buddies, so he felt guilty about that, but what about his mom? The only bad things he said about her is that she made him go to bed at the same time each night. And what about his sister? There has to be a reason. Did she steal his favorite toy? Did she squash his spiders from the last house? I want to know more. But unfortunately, all of these were unanswered too. I was really impressed with the other two big things though. The Russian prison walkthrough with Hop and everyone finding the frozen demogorgons in the Mind Flayer and coming back with a flamethrower was awesome. So freaking cool, such a great payoff. One of the best wrap-ups for a storyline action-wise. I also would have loved some quick flashbacks to some failed attempts at capturing the first demogorgons and then just eating the Russians one after another until they figured it out. And how did they capture the Mind Flayer? At this point, I feel like they're going to need the Russians' help to defeat Vecna in Season 5. And the final thing that they nailed was Eddie's concert in the Upside Down. Absolutely incredible. Visually, it looked so good. Perfect song too. I was just so hyped during this. Really cool to see it play out. I'm already looking forward to my rewatch of this. I really hope that we get some answers to some of the bigger questions. I want all the Vecna answers, but I also really wanted to see Yuri and Dimitri make it back to the States and finally complete their mission. I get that they were trying to bushwhack us with the Hopper L reunion out of nowhere, but they should have at the very least had a conclusive scene to the Russia storyline. It felt so unfinished. Even the California storyline got better closure than that. I also would love to see Vecna next season, right after they shot him out of the ceiling, burnt and defeated, crawling away back to his army in the Upside Down. That felt a little unfinished too. I can't wait until we touch base with Sam Owens again. He always seems to disappear at the end of the seasons and he never gets a proper follow-up, just always popping in and out. I'd love to see more of Hawkins' lab too, the numbers, the massacre, where Callie went, Henry's time there, even how Brenner survived. I'm telling you, they need to make an MK Ultra show. It'll answer so many questions. It would be really neat to see them do a series about everything that went down there. I made a video about all the spin-offs they should do after Season 5, and I think that one might have the most storytelling potential. Overall, I really love this season, and for the time they had, I think they did a great job at telling the story. But it does leave a lot of questions for Season 5, and unless they make it a lot longer, I'm not sure how they could follow everything up and top Season 4. Tell me down in the comments who you think they're going to kill off in Season 5 is. They're going to have a body count for sure. Main characters only. I'll be back soon with another video, so make sure you're subscribed. Go grab a cookie if you're a subscriber in the comments, and I will see you soon. Peace.